Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Friday, May 15th, and we're already midway through May. This is crazy. I'm Michael Taylor, good to be here with you. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. Hope you have a great weekend planned. We're gonna have some great temperatures in there. We also got a great show planned for you, so let's get right to that. Don't be confused. There's a lot of stuff on the screen today. We got a lot of stuff going on. We have Memorial Care in here. We have Dr. True McMahon and Dr. Matthew Jackson. They're gonna be here. And then we're gonna give you some information about your manor alteration resale stuff. There's lots of stuff going on, and we're putting some informational videos out there for you guys to watch, so take a look at that one while we're at it there. And then later in the program, as always on a Friday, if it's Friday, we have Cole Young with Sports Corner, so we got that coming up as well. Lots of stuff to talk about, NBA and hockey and more. Right now, though, we want to tell you about kind of a fun show coming up. We got the folks from Spin Town. It's going to be the outdoor concert. They're coming in, and they're going to take the stage on Thursday, June 4th from 6 to 8 p.m. over on the Clubhouse 1 patio. Perfect for dancing or just relaxing and enjoying the evening. Food will be available for purchase. Tickets are $20 and can be purchased over at Clubhouse 1. For more information, the rec department has all that. There's a number on your screen and an email if you're looking for more information. But just go ahead and buy those tickets and go out there and have a fun evening on the patio. There you go. Speaking of fun evenings, we have some nice temperatures ahead and nice overnight temperatures as well, so nice and cool as well. 74 degrees today, then 73, 71 for the weekend. So really cool temperatures. We've got a little bit of the marine layer going on, so we'll have some partly cloudy and then kind of mostly sunny skies action going on. And that cool overnights in the 50s for the rest of the weekend and into next week. So really great temperatures for this time of year. Enjoy it while it lasts. Summer is around the corner. As you can see, we're already halfway through May. Let's take a look at our sunrise, sunset. Speaking of beautiful days there at the beach in Laguna, that's a gorgeous shot from Heisler Park. Thank you, Joel Goldstein, for sending us that one. Sunrise this morning was 5:50. Sunset tonight is 7:44. It is one of my favorite beaches. If you'd like to send us a picture, we'd love to see it. Email us, lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. We will use it in our sunrise, sunset segment. Okay, we got one meeting to tell you about that, and then when we come back, we'll be talking to the folks from Memorial Care. Stay with us. Time to learn a little bit today about the differences between hospice care, palliative care, and to do that, we're welcoming Dr. True McMahon to the program, along with Dr. Matthew Jansen. Thanks for joining us today. All right, so let's start off with hospice care. I think that's the one people are most familiar with in terms of hospice care. What is hospice care and big picture wise?
Big picture, to me, hospice is about giving hope to the end of life process and understanding it better, and finding a way to find a peace with the knowledge that, like death and taxes,
right?
You can't avoid either one.
You can't avoid either one.
Yeah.
When someone goes into hospice care, we're no longer treating whatever the ailment, the disease, whatever that is. That part's done, and now it's just more about comfort and end of life. Is that correct, or am I incorrect on that assessment?
That's close, but
Okay.
not quite correct. We still treat the disease, but we treat the comfort aspect of getting the disease taken care of. We focus on the disease and how it's making life insufferable or uncomfortable, and then we focus on how to improve that, to improve quality of life with the disease.
Okay, all right. And so, Dr. Jensen, palliative care is a different thing, but it's kind of in the same family?
I think that's a great way to put it.
Okay.
Palliative care is different but similar.
Okay.
Palliative care, palliative medicine is a general philosophy of medicine that says that even if we have diseases that we cannot cure, there's still diseases that we should treat. And we should provide as much comfort and quality of life as we can while people are pursuing whatever other treatments are available. So the way I think of it is that palliative care is this general approach to providing good symptom management, good quality care, while there's still other treatment options available. And then when there's fewer and fewer other treatment options available, or when patients decide they're just not interested,
Okay.
that's usually when a conversation about hospice starts.
Okay, okay. So let's take a disease like ALS, which there's no cure for yet, and it most always leads to death eventually for that patient. Is that something that would maybe someone transition? You're going to treat the symptoms. You're going to do what you can to slow the progression of the loss of mobility and those kinds of things, but eventually it might move over to hospice care?
That's a fantastic example.
Okay.
And the answer is yes. When somebody is initially diagnosed with ALS, there are treatments available that can make their life longer, make their lives better. And so at that point, palliative care would get involved to be a part of that process. But as the disease progresses, and as you know, we have no cure for ALS.
Right.
A time will come when medicine doesn't have a whole lot to offer. And at that point, it would be reasonable to say, we know where this disease is headed. What do we want that to look like? And if what people want it to look like is comfort and dignity and living their life on their terms until the very last minute, very often hospice is a part of that conversation.
Okay. And how does that handoff look like between medical professionals at a hospital or in a group?
It varies, doesn't it?
Usually it
depends.
involves,
Does it involve the family? It's always probably involves the family or at least the patient, right, in terms of that decision. And do you guys meet together? Do you guys consult sometimes on these cases? Like, hey, it's time?
Absolutely, absolutely. I rely on his expertise, where the patient's been, what has been tried, and then I adjust it to a home or board and care, resident living facility, wherever they're at, and I apply it to that setting. But he hands me cases where it's very difficult for me to not get his opinion on before I continue, and that doesn't always happen because some patients come to me not from Dr. Jansen, not having had palliative at all, and straight to hospice. It can be from the community. It can be from a physician. It can even be referred from family members. You don't need a doctor to refer, but if there is a doctor referring, I love to talk to the doctor about what's been done, what's helped, what hasn't helped.
When a family comes to you guys and it wants that consultation, do you take that, usually they're probably already in some sort of process, there's hospital records or whatever it might be. How do you guys make that decision? Are there a 10-point assessment kind of thing, or is it a case by case?
it's very much case by case.
Very much.
And it almost always involves the patient. It always involves the patient as long as the patient is able to have that conversation. Almost always involves the family. And we talk a lot about what the patient and family understand about their disease, what they understand about the treatment options available, and most importantly, what they want. Some people want everything doctors have to offer, and we are very happy to do that, and honestly, that's what we do best. But a lot of people who have severe disease are kind of getting tired of doctors and tired of hospitals.
Right.
And what they want is they want to be home, they want to be comfortable, and they want to spend as much time with the people they love as possible. And when people tell me that, usually my next phone call is to Dr. McMahon. And I say, I think this is a person you have a lot to offer.
Dr. McMahon, you may have probably gotten into medicine maybe early on to say, I'm going to cure disease, I'm going to make people better, but you are in a place, and I'm not saying you don't help people, but it's you had maybe a shift in your mindset in terms of like, this isn't a place where I'm curing people, this is a place where I'm helping people, right? But you're still with that doctor's hand in that.
And yes, my original training and board certification currently, and still I am a practicing emergency room provider. The emergency department sees anything and everything, and we have to do everything in our power to resuscitate or get the patient admitted where we can't stabilize and they can be stabilized in the patient hospital setting or sent home. There's a lot of decision making that's last minute, and sometimes it's stressful, and family, they don't know what they want, and they come to the emergency department to get guidance. And so my emergency medicine training says do everything that you can, take everything into consideration, but I've done a lot of things that I felt that seemed to be futile, to put a patient on a ventilator, to put them in the hospital after the 6th or 7th time, and what they really didn't want was to be hospitalized. So there was a shift, that's right. 10 years ago, I thought about what I was doing a little bit more, and then of course COVID came along, and I saw people having the last breath in the most uncomfortable situation, and I felt I could do better than this. And so that's when I decided hospice was a better way to take care of patients and use my medical knowledge of the emergency department, but in their homes or in the setting that they choose.
Dr. Jansen, when folks come to your office, when folks come to you for their services, what's the advice you give them in terms of choices they should be making, could be making? Because most people aren't familiar with this process and what goes into it, and so they're looking to you as the expert in what should we do as a family for our loved one.
That's a great question. Let me answer in terms of what I do when I talk with families. The first thing we do is we talk about, what do they understand about what's going on with their loved one's health? What do they understand about this disease? And crucially, what do they understand about what doctors are offering? Are doctors offering a cure? Is this chemotherapy going to cure the disease? Or are we really just trying to slow this down and buy as many good days as possible? And the second thing we talk about is, has their loved one ever communicated what they want in life? Some people tell me, as long as they can sit on the couch and watch the Packers game, they're going to be happy. Other people tell me, man, if I'm stuck on the couch and all I can do is watch TV, I'm going to be miserable. And have they had that conversation with their loved one? And then lastly, what is important in terms of a good quality of life? And is the plan we're currently enacting going to lead us in that direction?
Okay.
Or do we have a mismatch between the medical plan and the patient's goals? So I guess the best answer to your question is, usually what I recommend to people is a lot more conversations with their doctors and a lot more conversations with their loved ones.
And is this the time that they need to get their paperwork in order, DNRs, directives, and those kinds of things? This is the time where those things happen, and they maybe have never had those things before, right? And this is like, okay, we need to make some big decisions, have some big conversations, right?
Right, and it's always better than in the emergency department to have that conversation.
Right. What's it like for you? And again, just as a doctor, what does a win look like? Because you're not curing people anymore. You're not sending people home and have a great rest of your life kind of feeling, right? So, in the end, your patients, pass away, hopefully peacefully and without pain. But what do wins look like for you in your field these days?
The win for me is when I get a chance to sit down, back off, let's just think and talk about what is best for your loved one. And the win is when the conversation does happen, there's peace that's accepted by the patient or the family member, and the end comes in a much more predictable way and dignified way. That's the win.
Okay, that's great. Do people know enough about palliative care and hospice care, or is this something we really need to have more education about for people to understand? Like, there's going to be this decision for everybody in their lives.
People do not. And it's not just the general public who doesn't know enough about palliative care. A lot of physicians, a lot of nurses don't have a good sense for what palliative care is or how to best use it in the hospital or outside of the hospital. I tell people all of the time, there's no class in high school about what to do when your loved ones get old. But we all know that day is coming. When somebody we love is going to be old, and we're going to have these conversations and make these decisions. So I consider a big part of my job to be just that, to educate people about what palliative care is, what it is not, and how it can be useful at various stages along the medical process.
Yeah. Because, doctors, again, that what I went to before, doctors, we're curing this. We're going to fight for you. And, but there's also that oath you take of do no harm. And so it's like, is there a point where you have to try to get doctors in the right mindset of like, listen, you're fighting, but you're fighting a losing battle. We need to, some doctors have to have that acceptance of, okay, we need to make a decision here.
And that's when I really appreciate my colleagues who understand that.
Right, okay.
They don't just keep pushing like the dialysis that doesn't seem to be helping, that's actually causing more symptom burden. Like the cardiologist or the oncologist who want to try this, but the patient family have deer in the headlight looks. No, they don't want that.
Right, they're done. But sometimes it's maybe the doctor says, no, let's keep on going because they want to help so much, but can be misdirected, right? Yeah. All right. Well, very interesting conversation, Dr. McMahon and Dr. Jansen. Thank you for this. I think we can probably have you back and talk about this some more because I think it's a great conversation to have and one that hasn't had have enough conversations about it either. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. We'll be happy to come back.
You're watching ThisDay. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Manor Alterations. Selling your manor in Laguna Woods Village? Before closing escrow, you'll go through a resale inspection process. Here's a quick overview of what to expect. Before requesting any resale inspections, please contact Manor Alterations Resales Inspection Team for guidance. While many steps are involved in selling a home, the Manor Alterations Resales Inspection Team focuses on the resale inspection process. Note that resales inspections do not replace third-party home inspection services. Resale inspections are required for all manors being sold. The primary purpose is to identify approved alterations that will become the responsibility of the new owner. The inspection also addresses necessary corrections, including alterations that require mutual consent. It includes the repair of any existing alterations. To begin the resale inspection process, you will need to complete a first and final inspection report request. The first and final inspection report request form is available at lagunawoodsvillage.com for either Third Laguna Hills Mutual or United Laguna Woods Mutual. Complete and sign the form and submit it via email. Once your request is received, staff will perform a detailed record search and a first inspection will be scheduled. During a first inspection, any required corrections, whether the responsibility of the member or mutual, will be identified. The first inspection report is valid for up to 6 months. Once the required corrections are completed, a final inspection is scheduled. The final inspection report is then sent to the escrow company to complete escrow. Questions? The Manor Alterations Resales Inspection Team is here to help. Thank you for watching. This information is a general overview. Requirements may vary depending on the scope of work. Before requesting any resale inspections, please contact Manor Alterations Resales Inspection Team for guidance.
Hello and welcome to this Friday's episode of Sports Corner. I'm Cole Young, and not to sound like a broken record, but we're still in the middle of the NBA playoffs and the Stanley Cup playoffs, plus a few other things are going around the sports world, so I'll get right to it. Starting in hockey, we last left off with the Colorado Avalanche taking a 2-0 series lead over the Minnesota Wild. In Game 3, Kirill Kaprizov scored first and assisted on the next 2 goals. Quinn Hughes followed Kaprizov's 4-on-4 score late in the first period with a 4-on-3 goal less than 2 minutes later, and the Wild forced a goalie change and handed the Avalanche their first loss in this postseason with a 5-1 victory on Saturday night. With the series at 2-1, Game 4 was in Minnesota on Monday. Ross Colton and Parker Kelly each scored in the third period for Colorado, the perfect time for each of their first goals of the postseason, and Colorado snapped back from their Game 3 loss to beat Minnesota and take a 3-1 lead in the series. This series came to a close on Wednesday night in spectacular fashion. Brett Kulak scored just about 4 minutes into overtime, his first goal since January, and the Avalanche advanced to the Western Conference Final with a 4-3 victory over the Minnesota Wild in Game 5. Kulak capped a wild comeback for the Avalanche, who trailed 3-0 midway through the second period. Colorado moves on to the conference final for an 8th time since relocating to Denver back in 1995. The other series in the West, between our local Anaheim Ducks and the Vegas Golden Knights, has been must-see TV so far. In Game 3 last Friday, Vegas made a statement. Mitch Marner had 3 goals and an assist in his first career playoff hat trick. Shea Theodore had a goal and an assist. Braden McNabb scored a shorthanded goal, and the Golden Knights dominated the Ducks 6-2 to take a 2-1 lead. The Knights jumped out to a staggering 5-0 lead after just 2 periods. But the Ducks got back on track in Game 4. Alex Killorn and rookie Beckett Seneca had a power play goal and an assist each, and the Ducks beat Vegas 4-3 on Sunday night to even their second-round series at 2 wins apiece. Like I said, this series has been must-see, as teams are just swapping wins. In Game 5 on Tuesday night, Pavel Dorofeyev, who earlier had a power play goal, scored at 4:10 of overtime to give Vegas a 3-2 victory over Anaheim, moving the Golden Knights just one victory away from advancing to the Western Conference Final. Could the Ducks win at home last night to stay alive and force Game 7? The Knights managed to hold off the Ducks and secure the Game 6 win, punching their ticket to the Western Conference Finals for the first time since winning the Stanley Cup in the 2022 season. They will face Colorado for a spot in the Stanley Cup Final. Heading over to the East, the Carolina Hurricanes have been nothing short of dominant throughout these playoffs. Jackson Blake scored 5 minutes and 28 seconds into overtime for his second of the game. Logan Stankoven also scored in regulation, and the Hurricanes finished a 4-game sweep with a 3-2 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers last Saturday to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals for their second straight season. Frederik Andersen made 15 saves for Carolina, who has won 8 straight games this postseason. Carolina now gets plenty of time to rest and recover while they wait to see who their opponent will be for a shot at a Stanley Cup Finals appearance. For that spot, the Buffalo Sabres and Montreal Canadiens have been battling back and forth. In Game 2 of that series last weekend, Alex Newhook had 2 goals, and the Canadiens beat the Sabres 5-1 on Friday night to even their series at 1 game each. Then, in Game 3, the Canadiens again put up some large numbers. Cole Caulfield scored his second goal of the playoffs and added an assist as Montreal beat Buffalo 6-2 on Sunday night to take a 2-1 lead. Game 4 was then on Tuesday, and it was a nail-biter. Zach Benson broke the tie on a third-period power play, and the Sabres beat the Canadiens 3-2 to even the series at 2-2. That win included one of the wildest goals I've ever seen from Tage Thompson. During a second-period power play, Thompson shot the puck from center ice around the boards to get his team set up in the attack zone. The puck deflected off the corner of the glass near the Zamboni entrance door and ricocheted directly off the top of Montreal goalie Jacob Dobe's right pad and into the net to tie the score at 2-2. He wasn't even attempting a shot, but sometimes the hockey gods are just on your side. Anyway, the pivotal Game 5 was last night. The Canadiens bounced back with a win and are now just 1 win away from an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. We're down to just a few remaining teams in these playoffs, so be sure to tune in this weekend to see which teams advance and the start of the conference finals next week. Moving on to the NBA playoffs, when we last checked in on the Lakers, they were down 2-0 to the defending champions. What happened in these next 2 games was more of the same as the first 2. In Game 3, A.J. Mitchell had career playoff highs of 24 points and 10 assists, and the Oklahoma City Thunder extended their unbeaten playoff run with a 131-108 victory over LA. In Game 4, the Lakers had to steal a win or pack their bags and head home for the season. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 35 points, Chet Holmgren made a tie-breaking dunk with 32.8 seconds to play, and the Thunder swept the Los Angeles Lakers out of the second round of the NBA playoffs with a 115-110 victory on Monday. They advanced to the Western Conference Finals and had to rest and recover while they waited to see who their opponent would be in the next round, either the Minnesota Timberwolves or the San Antonio Spurs. This series was tied at 1-1, and Game 3 headed to Minnesota. There, Victor Wembanyama delivered another masterpiece with 39 points and 15 rebounds, and the Spurs took a 2-1 lead with a 115-108 victory over the T-Wolves on Friday night. Anthony Edwards then followed up with a 36-point performance in Game 4, and Minnesota evened the series back up with a 114-109 win. To bring us fully up to speed, Game 5 was on Tuesday. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but Wembanyama had another monster game. He finished with 27 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 blocks as the Spurs beat the Timberwolves 126-97 to take a 3-2 lead. At 22 years old, Wembanyama is the 3rd youngest player in NBA history to post that stat line in a playoff game, trailing only Magic Johnson and Luka Doncic. In the Eastern Conference, one team advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals in one of the most dominant performances I personally have ever seen. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and the New York Knicks are back in the Eastern Conference Finals, tying the NBA postseason record with 25 three-pointers and rolling past the Philadelphia 76ers 144-114 to sweep the second-round series. Deuce McBride hit 7 three-pointers, going 4 for 4 in the first quarter, when the Knicks set another record with 11. Brunson had 22 points, and Hart and Karl Anthony Towns each scored 17 in the latest lopsided playoff victory. The Knicks' 19.4-point average margin of victory is the largest through 2 rounds since the playoffs went to 16 teams in 1984. Just like OKC, New York now has to wait and see who their opponent will be, and it will be either the Detroit Pistons or the Cleveland Cavaliers. In that series, the Cavaliers evened the series when Donovan Mitchell tied an NBA playoff record with 39 points in the second half, and Cleveland defeated the Pistons with a 112-103 victory Monday night. Mitchell finished the night with a whopping 43 points. In Game 5, it was James Harden that led the charge. He scored a playoff-best 30 points, and Mitchell added 21, helping the Cavaliers come back from a 9-point deficit late in regulation to beat the Pistons 117-113 in overtime to take a 3-2 series lead. Game 6 of this series will be today at 4. Just like in the NHL, by this time next week, the final 4 teams will be set and we will be approaching the conclusion of the seasons. Outside of these playoff series, one of the major events in golf is underway this week, the PGA Championship. The 2026 tournament at Arana Mink Golf Club in Newton Square, Pennsylvania has teed off, and defending champion Scottie Scheffler is looking to keep his title. Rory McIlroy is fresh off his Masters win and will be looking to add another major victory to his resume. Another player to watch is Jordan Spieth, as he could complete a career Grand Slam with a win this week. The final round of this tournament will begin early Sunday morning on ESPN. Lastly, to end the show, we're officially less than 30 days away from the start of the World Cup. The international tournament will officially begin with the match between Mexico and South Africa on June 11th. The United States will begin their World Cup journey against Paraguay on June 12th. This is arguably the largest sporting event in the world, so I, for one, can't wait. That's going to do it for this Friday's episode of Sports Corner. Enjoy all of the NBA, NHL, golf, WNBA, soccer, and so much more that this weekend has to offer. Next Friday, believe it or not, is the 200th episode of Sports Corner. So be sure to come right back next week and see what fun stuff we have in store. As always, thanks for tuning in. I'm Cole Young, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's talk about our Friday and Saturday movie. We got a great lineup for you. This is a cool documentary. I haven't seen this, but I've heard a lot about it. It seems like it would be really fun to watch. It's called 20 Feet from Stardom. Came out in 2013, and it's a documentary. It's going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. Backup singers live in the world that just lies just beyond the spotlight. Their voices bring harmony to the biggest bands in popular music, but we've had no idea who these singers are or what their lives lead to until now. So we kind of get a cool insight onto some of the backup singers for some of the biggest bands. A famous backup singer for a Rolling Stones song is in here, and it's a really cool story. I know this story, so anyway, watch that one and lots of other ones too. That's going to be today's movie at 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. Then on Saturday, Midwinter Break. This one just came out, and we already have it here, so that's awesome. Leslie Manville is going to be starring in this one, and it's brought to us by Advanced Ear Care. It's going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. A longtime couple take a life-changing trip to Amsterdam. So it's kind of a look back on their lives, and that one looks like a very cool drama. So that's going to be our Saturday movie. Let's take a quick check of our forecast before we head out, and we got some great temperatures. If you're not going to be watching movies, get out there and enjoy the day. Today's going to be 74. Same thing for Saturday, 73 degrees with morning clouds kind of burning off to mostly sunny. And that's going to be our pattern all the way into Tuesday. Nice cool temperatures, overnight cools as well. So enjoy the wonderful spring-like weather we're having right now. All right, folks. Saturday on the program, we're going to be welcoming Polly's Pies. I always love it when they come in. I always eat the French fries, and I'll be here as well. Polly's Pies, I wouldn't miss it. That's going to do it for this edition of This Day. I'm Michael Taylor. For all of us here at Village Television, we hope you make this day a great one.